Hello, ladies and gentlemen, crypto deep divers. Welcome back to Weekly Crypto. Today, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, and I will touch on gold and inverted yield curve. Also, I will touch on Chainlink as well as, of course, the coronavirus update. And things are getting worse, right? And before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out the upcoming token swap and token staking process. Token staking, I create a whole bunch of video about token staking, for example, for Tezos and CRX. It's better to learn how to, transfer the token from the exchange to your wallet to start the staking process, because the exchange is going to have a 50% cut out of your reward. So it's better you stake your own token. And probably I'll put the link below, then you know how to do your token staking process as well. And you can also follow me on Twitter, library.tv. Library.tv is a decentralized YouTube. Basically, you can earn library token just by joining library.tv as well as watching video. So join the movement, join the decentralized movement, join the library.tv. And also, you can follow me on Patreon as well. I just created a video about essential vitamins for preventing coronavirus, COVID-19. Right now, it's very important that you have to build up your immune system to get ready for this. So it is like right now, it's spreading like wildfires. Even though, we have been talking about that people have no symptoms, nothing can still be contagious and already starting the virus. So you don't know. A surgical mask is just serve as a protective barrier. But, it's better to have a good immune system. And I talk about this in this video, and these vitamins I never talk about in YouTube. And this is only available in Patreon. So to protect yourself and your family, you can check out this essential vitamins for preventing coronavirus or COVID-19. And I don't want to talk about in YouTube. The reason why is because YouTube may probably say that this is probably a protective whatever goods or whatever. Like vitamins is one of them. It's a protective goods or it's a regulated goods. And I can potentially get banned as well. So that's why I don't want to talk about it anymore. So any sensitive thing, I'm going to put it in Patreon as a private group. And that's what I'm going to do. So if you're interested, you can join my Patreon group and take a look. And I spent a lot of time on this video. I did a lot of research on this video. I talk about, I try to simplify the immune system because it's such a complicated process. And I just want to show you how these vitamins can help you in terms of cellular level, okay? Those are pretty cool, actually. You can take a look. And how the coronavirus different from this SARS or typical influenza flu virus is very different. In terms of the cellular level, it's very, very different. So if you're interested, you can join my Patreon group and take a look. And this is definitely can help you and your family. So let's talk about Bitcoin quickly. Let's see. So right now, if you look at the BTC-USD long position, right now, I think some of the position has been liquidated. And in terms of the short position, you can see the short position has been liquidated quite substantially. So I'm not sure they will continue to keep pumping the price because the short position is already liquidated, or they're going to maintain the momentum, or they're going to dump the price to finish liquidate the long position. So this is basically up to the whale, how they play the game, because it's such a small market cap. So we'll see. And in terms of gold, so if you follow my channel, I told everybody to buy gold probably maybe when gold was around 1,200, 1,300, when silver was around maybe $14, $15, $16 when I talk about it. So you should not miss this run, because I mean right now people fly for safety because of the corona epidemics. So one thing I want to mention is the CFTC, the long and short position. So in terms of the gold, in terms of the short position, you have like 224,000, the short position. This is for producer or merchant. And in terms of the long position, you have only 75,000. And in terms of the swap dealer, you have 3 times more, 374,000 versus only over 100,000. For the managed money, basically the institution money, the big, probably the big whale, I guess. There's short position, they only have 36,000. And then the long position is 320 some thousand. So I'm not sure. Maybe they will continue to pump the price to liquidate the short position. Once this position liquidate, they may no longer need to pump the price anymore, right? But there's no reason to dump either because they don't want to liquidate their own position. So this is one thing I want to point out. So nothing goes up or go down forever. And this is just basically up to the way of how they play the game. And in terms of the CME future contract volume for Bitcoin, it has been going up like crazy. And I talk about how the future contract can manipulate basically the price of Bitcoin. In terms of gold and silver, they also have a future market as well. And in terms of uranium, they also have the same thing. So basically, this is create additional instrument for the Wall Street to manipulate the price of Bitcoin as well for the CME future contract. And a lot of people talk about, I think one person tweet about, let's see, one person tweet about the GBTC. People are paying up to like 41% premium just to get exposure to Bitcoin. And they're saying that, hey, SEC, it's time to have for the ETF. So I think they're too simple thinking because ETF may not be good to the crypto community. The reason why, look at back ETF. People, when people talk about back ETF, they said, hey, it's going to go crazy. I mean, the price of Bitcoin because of the ETF. No, that's not true. If you understand how Wall Street work, you don't want this ETF. You don't want any future contract at all. Because if you understand the concept of rehypothecation and commingling, then you know what I'm talking about. I have been talking about this probably long time ago. If you don't know these two terms, you better educate yourself because this is very important. This is how Wall Street play the game in the traditional market. So in terms of the bag ETF, I'm not at the time when they talk about bag, I don't like bag at all because it doesn't help. Because if you understand the frictional reserve banking system in the current system right now, basically you deposit $10,000 in the bank. And the bank is only need to reserve probably 1,000, depending on the size of the bank. You know how much money they have and stuff like that. The size of the bank. So some of them maybe 5% reserved, some of them maybe 10%. So probably they only keep 1,000. The rest of the 9,000 they can loan out to the consumer, for example, as a mortgage, student loan, or automobiles loan, stuff like that. So actually, it's pretty highly leveraged. The banking system is pretty highly leveraged as well, right? Because the frictional reserve banking system. If everybody go to the bank to get the money all at once, you probably would not. The bank would not be able to satisfy your requirement because they are working on a reserve banking policy. Just like the bag ETF, they also do the same thing. It's basically a reserve. It's similar to the reserve banking policy. It's just they have a certain type of reserve of Bitcoin. They already have an ETF. So they don't hold 100% of the ETF, 100% of the Bitcoin. They probably partial. They hold like a fractional amount of Bitcoin. They already launched an ETF. So you got to be careful what you are looking for. And because of this, that means that they can potentially rehypothecate the Bitcoin. That means they can inflate the Bitcoin because using the ETF, that is not good for Bitcoin, right? So they probably don't hold 100% of Bitcoin and then they launch the ETF. So you got to be very careful. And then they commingling with other asset and count as the same asset. Basically, they can commingling with the US dollar, the treasury, some other credit default swap, stuff like that. So you got to be careful what you're looking for. I think it's better for the cryptocurrency. No future contract, no ETF. That is the best for the crypto community. I've been talking about this since day one. That was long time ago. And I don't know if you still remember back in 2007, at the end of the 2007, people are very bullish about the CME future contract, saying that Bitcoin is going to the moon, and see what happened. After the introduction of the CME future contract, Bitcoin price has been collapsed from 20,000. And ever since then, we are in a bear market for the last 2 years. So that's why it's not good for the future contract. The more volume they have, the more control that the Wall Street can play the Bitcoin. So I probably will put the link on my previous video. I've been talking about that long time ago. And of course, Voice has launched, right? Voice is basically decentralized Facebook, and they already have a beta version running right now. But the thing is, this is going through KYC. I don't like that. Because you have to give out your personal data, your name, address, not the address, I guess, your birthday, stuff like that. So I don't feel comfortable doing that. I mean, I mean, if we're in a crypto world, I prefer to be anonymous, right? Rather than like expose yourself to unnecessary, data. And they saying that they are not going to profit from your data like Facebook, but we'll see how it goes. But for EOS is a pretty centralized system. They only like have like 50 block producers, like 30 some 50 block producers, right? So it's pretty centralized system as well. So I don't know how voice will play out. I know a lot of people are EOS supporter, but let me know if you are using the beta version. Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear from you as well. And of course, let's see. And of course, Chainlink has been going haywire, has been going crazy, go exponentially. And basically, when I bought Chainlink, nobody talked about it. Probably bought it less than $1. Nobody even talk about it. Nobody know about this project. I bought it a long time ago. So Chainlink, in case you don't know, is basically serve as a gateway from the traditional database. For example, they pull the legacy database from Oracle, like from Oracle to the blockchain. So this is basically they can feed the data from the Oracle database to the blockchain to the new world basically. So this is serve as a gateway. This is pretty useful. And they talk about the different addresses. They talk about like over 20,000 Chainlink hodler represent 20% of the total address. So this is basically probably the Chainlink whales, I guess. They have 20% of the total address, and also 63%, those are probably cruising around. They will hold the cryptocurrency for a period of 1 to 12 months, maybe a swing trader, I guess, or seasonal trader, I guess. And then the new address entering the network, they are actively trading Chainlink is about 16%, which is over 16,000 address. So basically maybe a day trader, I guess. So we'll see. I mean, the community has been growing exponentially, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, in terms of application, I think it's pretty useful. They can link the traditional economy, like the legacy database Oracle, to the blockchain. That was pretty cool. So we'll see. And let's see. So the next stop, we're going to talk about the coronavirus update. Let's talk about the coronavirus quickly. So you can see, of course, South Korea is gone haywire, gone crazy, and because of the church, because of the church gathering. I think the church gathering is only 2 hours, seriously. And then they affected, like, right now it's almost 600 people. And in Italy, it's surprisingly pumped up like crazy, 155 cases. I'm not sure because of their culture. They like to, like, maybe they are kissing, I mean, they're like they're touching the cheek for kissing or something. I don't know, maybe the culture thing, I'm not sure. Japan 135 and Singapore 89, Hong Kong 74. Iran is a surprise too, right? 43. But the thing is, Iran may be a potential government censorship. They may have cases already, probably a long time ago. They didn't tell anybody until the cases out of control. Then everything have to be leaking out, when things are out of control, just like China. At the very beginning, they don't tell nobody. Of course, this confirmed case is totally wrong. Maybe a million case. Maybe the death toll may be over 50,000. We don't know. Nobody knows. A lot of cases, people, some of the patient, a lot of people die, and then they just cremate the patient right away. They don't even test it. So a lot of patients die, so we don't know. So those people are not accounted for as well. This is accounted for is only when they have a test kit to test it, right? If they are running out of test kit, or they control the supply of test kit, this is up to CCP how they want to report the number. And of course, they want to back to work, right? Because the Chinese Communist Party, all they care is about GDP. They don't care about human lives. And there's some factories after they reopen, they have an outbreak again. I don't think this is a good idea to back to work at this time. But the thing is, the mainland Chinese or the mainland China is basically world is a world factory, right? So a lot of people, a lot of things, a lot of raw materials, manufactured item come from China. So if they keep on not going back to work, that will be affect the supply chain all over the world. And of course, including the drug company, they may, for example, in India, they manufacture a lot of generic medications, right? They rely on China to supply the raw materials. So I think there's news probably 2 weeks ago saying that India, they don't have enough raw materials to make a generic medication. So we'll see. I mean, this will be tough, right? This will be tough. I think if you on some chronic medications, it's better that you get refill quickly and also maybe get more medications before the supply chain affecting the consumer. I think it's better to plan ahead. So if you follow my channel, you probably plan ahead already, right? Because I warned to everybody 3 weeks ago, and I warned at least 3 weeks ago, and I warned my family at least 5 weeks ago about what happened is going to happen. So if you follow my channel, you shouldn't be lagging behind. You should be ahead of the hearse, right? You should be ahead of the game. You should be well prepared already. You should have enough supplies at home, and then if some of the supply is coming from China, you probably have alternatives, or you already bought some other stuff as well. And if you want a cell phone, I think it's better. If you need to change your cell phone or your cell phone is broken, you better buy it now, because the supply chain is going to be affected. This is just like supply and demand. If the supply is less and the demand is the same, the price will go up, right? This is just basic economics 101. So if you have any major purchase or whatever, it's better to do it now. Not major purchase, I mean something that you need, for example, a cell phone or a printer or something like that. But some printer is made in Malaysia. But anyway, so whatever, or computer or stuff like that. So those will affect the supply chain. So if you need to change your computer or if you need to buy all this thing, you better do it now, because in the next probably next 2 months or next 6 months, the price probably will go up, because there's an interruption of the supply chain, because a lot of the components is coming from China. So small little components inside the computer, even a clothing, a garment, maybe the buttons is come from China. You don't know. You never know. I mean, this is a little bit crazy, I know. Let's talk about, and of course in California, if you're traveling, I would say don't go to California right now. They have like 7,000 under quarantine, 6,700 people in California to self-quarantine for the COVID-19. I think those people come from China. They probably go to China for the Chinese New Year holiday, and then they come back, and then they have to self-quarantine themselves for 14 days. But the thing is, the self-quarantine for 14 days probably is outdated to me, because a lot of cases, the virus can last more than 14 days. Some of them probably last 20, maybe 3 weeks, 21 days or something like that, or even longer. So the incubation period may be longer. So 14 days may not be sufficient. So this 6,700 people, they were told to self-quarantine. Do you believe that they are really self-quarantine? And there's no mandatory that they cannot go outside, right? To do grocery shopping, stuff like that, right? Or to go to post office, stuff like that. So this is not a mandatory that they have to stay inside the house, right? And also they will stay with the family members. The family members maybe got the virus, and then the family members does not need to self-quarantine. They may go out to the community and spreading the virus, going to the church, going to the post office, going to the grocery store. We don't know. So if you are traveling, I would suggest don't even come to California. It's not safe. You have 6,700 people in California quarantine. So based on the transmission models, for example, 7 times 4, you're talking about 28,000 people. Potentially, they can potentially infect 28,000 people. For example, cut by half is you're talking about potentially they can affect 14,000 people, which is carriers. And as a carrier, there's no symptoms. You can still spread the virus. You're already contagious. You don't even know. So I talk about the Walking Dead or the Walking Zombie, right? They already contagious. You don't know. So probably you have, I haven't taken into consideration of the exponential of the virus, like 1 times 4, 4 times 4, 16, 16 times 4, 64, 64 times 4 is 256. So you do the math, okay? This is just based on the epidemiology model from University of Florida. And then we haven't taken into the account of the super spreader. So a super spreader is one super spreader can spread to more than 10 people. So, and remember, the ladies in Korea, she's a super spreader. She spread more than 30 people in the church, right? The church service is only 2 hours. Within this 2 hours, she already spread to 30 people, and this 30 people in turn spread to another 40 people at the beginning. And then I think at the end, it has more than 200 some or whatever. I don't know how many people. I could lose track of this number. This is like insane. So this is that's why the virus is like exponential nature of the virus, just like crypto, exponential nature, right? And so they're talking about California has 9 confirmed cases, 4 of them in the San Francisco area. In let's see, and they're talking about the cruise ship. The cruise ship, they already confirmed like 20 some people, and I don't understand why this number is only 35. If you have 20 some people, if we total will be 40, right? I don't understand. I'm just confusing. Maybe are we underestimate, or I'm not sure. Maybe something doesn't adds up, or they haven't updated the number, and it doesn't make sense, right? And there's a very interesting thing. This is in Alabama, and then people are talking about not in my backyard. And then I think the government want to transfer some of the coronavirus patient in some of the facility in Alabama. But of course, Alabama say no, because right now they're utilizing the Air Force Base in Texas, Colorado, and California. So yeah, that is pretty interesting. When I do some Google stuff, when I do Google, you can see type coronavirus or COVID-19. You can see mostly South Korea, right? Everything is overseas, right? And then here talking about potential shortage of the medications. And when I see Google Doc, right? When I do Google Doc using Google Doc, the browser, you can see this is coming out, not in my backyard. Alabama, they don't want to have any coronavirus patient, but it doesn't show up in Google. I don't know why. This is crazy. I mean, I don't understand why it didn't show up in it didn't show up in the Google. That's interesting. Maybe they don't want people to know about all this thing, I guess. And of course, Italy is get affected. Even Iran get affected. The thing is, Iran, the case go up to 33. I'm just suspecting because maybe potential government censorship. They didn't tell you until the case is until the outbreak is out of control. So that's why all of a sudden you have 43 confirmed cases. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's the one of the. I guess I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. I don't know. And I want to point out another thing. Let me see. So here, the U.S. District Court talk about they has temporary blocked state and federal government for moving as many as 50 Americans infected from coronavirus to Southern Cal for quarantine. I mean, in California, well, you already have 6,007 people, 6,700 people already self-quarantine. And also, there's like, I think they repatriate the first flight from Wuhan also go to California, as well as the second one. Subsequently, they also go to the Air Force Base in Fairfield, Travis Air Force Base. And it seems like everything go to California. I don't understand why, and then somehow they go to Nebraska and then go to Texas. But the majority of them is go to California. So I'm not surprised they're blocking that, because I don't know if the facility in California can handle all these things. And this is, look at this. This is a printing out surgical mask, and it's coming out like crazy. This is insane. But it looks like it's pretty thin. Does it even work? I mean, you need three layers of the surgical mask, isn't it, right? And of course, this is the map about the coronavirus in different parts of the world, in China, Nepal, India, Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, Taiwan, in the cruise ship, the Diamond Princess, in Japan. There's some conspiracy saying that Japan doesn't want the cruise ship people to come down to Japan because they are going to have an Olympics coming up, so they don't want the numbers to be so high number in Japan. So that's why. And there's a man, probably, I don't know if the patient is seizing or what. This is in I think it's in the subway station in Hong Kong. And this type of phenomena used to be happen in mainland China. Right now it's also in Hong Kong as well. So we don't know if this patient has coronavirus or what. I don't know. We don't know. maybe some other medical conditions. We don't know. But nobody want to go near that because coronavirus is so contagious. Not that they don't want to help, but coronavirus is very contagious. And I don't blame them. They are very scared on this virus already. And the government, the Hong Kong government is pretty incompetent. They are not helping the citizens. So right now the citizens have to protect themselves. Yeah. And in Korea, they have like so many cases in different parts of Korea. But this is in Korean. I don't even understand. And there's some CDC briefing on February 22nd. And they talk about, I want to be clear, anyone released from 14 days quarantine is not at risk for spreading virus is wrong. The facts show infected can be asymptomatic for 27 days. So the incubation period can be for 27 days. I've been emphasized about this incubation period can be longer, probably at least 2 to 3 weeks ago. And yet, the officials just talk about it. Hey, the incubation period is maybe longer than 14 days. So the self-quarantine, do you think is sufficient? Do you think 14 days is sufficient? Because back in the case in China, there's not just one people. They have a longer incubation period. There's multiple people. There's tons and tons of cases. The incubation period is very long. And one lady is 42 days. Is past 42 days, he still got he has a reinfection. I don't know the detail of that case, but there's a lot of cases is past 14 days. So here talking about a 70-year-old man in Hubei province and did not show symptoms until 27 days, and local government talk about it, and of course it's longer than 14 days, right? So this is 27 days. It's almost a month. You have to quarantine a person for almost a month. This is insane. And of course, people are talking about don't buy the China story. The coronavirus may leaking out from the P4 lab, the biosafety level 4 lab. Those lab, they do research on deadly virus like the smallpox, for example, H1N1, SARS, Ebola, those deadly virus. So I think I have I want to talk about a patient zero, but not in here. Probably I will talk about in my Patreon group. So because those are very sensitive information, and if I talk about it, probably I will get banned from YouTube once again. So I try to be very careful right now. So I probably will put it in a Patreon about patient zero. Patient zero is the first patient who got the coronavirus in China. So I will talk about that in my Patreon group. So if you are my Patreon member, you can go to look at that video. I probably will put it probably today or tomorrow. So let me know what you think about the price of gold as well as Bitcoin. Do you think we are going to continue pumping the price, or do you think we are going to have some type of corrections? And in terms of the, let me know what you think about this, because we don't know. It's up to the whale how they want to play the game. It looks like the Asian market is already open. The gold is like, it's has some activity right now. But for crypto, it's 24/7, right? It doesn't matter weekend or weekdays, it's 24/7. And don't forget the halving is coming up in 97 days. Woo, it's 97 days. So based on historical experience, usually they like to pump the price of Bitcoin before the halving. And once it's halving, it's going to dump the price. That's just based on historical data. So let me know what you think about this coronavirus as well as Bitcoin and the gold. And of course, I make this video, I will not get any advertising because of the YouTube policy, I guess. Look at my video, all yellow, yellow, yellow. I've been talking about coronavirus very early on. It's yellow, yellow. And that means that I would not get any advertising. But, all this video, I didn't talk about coronavirus. It's green. So look at that. So you can follow me on Patreon as well. So let me know what you think about this video. Please comment below. If you find this video helpful, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel. Also share with your friends. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out the upcoming token swap and token staking process. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter, Patreon, and as well as library.tv. So it's time to decentralize the internet, right? And the YouTube. Remember, crypto deep divers, we the people take control of our money, stay wise, stay safe, peace. I'm not a financial advisor. Investing in cryptocurrency, commodity, stock market can has inherent risk. Please use your due diligence. I'm not your healthcare provider. So if you have any questions and concern about coronavirus and what vitamins you need to be taken, you better consult with your doctors. And thank you for your time.